There's a cat meowing on my side. Oh, we're two Fridays for Futures. Oh no, I'm back. Okay. I hope the cat on the back is and the birds are a nice background sound.
Very, very nice.
Okay. So first, Reem, I really like what you said about the intersectionality of things, the big topics that we were trying to tackle all together, that we must tackle all together as a generation. And so, yeah, I think it connects with more than just feminism and climate action. You mentioned education, and personally, before joining the fight against the destruction of our environments, I was more focused on the oppression of teachers or educational systems, international curriculum, and standardized exams over students. Um, and you mentioned also something about language. So, yeah, let me say as well that, in fact, Arabic is an extremely rich language. And, you know, um, I feel sort of ashamed in a way that we talk about social equity and all these things, but in a way, there's this sort of elitism that is perpetuated by the private educational system, which is sort of a bubble, um, which disconnects us not only from our culture and our language, disconnects us from our families, from the outdoors, from everything. And this is really bad. I think Jimmy right now has been putting a fight up against the current Minister of Education for not
Yeah,
canceling the official exam. And I
and
completely
I
agree with
think, yeah, I just want to add something and what Andrew said about Minister of Education, and it's really important in
that.
Lebanon.
If I can just continue.
What's yeah, sorry, continue. كانت خلصت, sorry.
I mean, sorry, yeah. So I would just add to your fight as well, Jimmy, what Reem is saying, that we need to have education on climate, we need to have education on consent and sex, and we need to have education on our history, which yesterday we had a webinar such as this one, and I was completely dismayed to find out that uh, only Jimmy and Aya, which are part of the board in Fridays for Future, joined and engaged in the dialogue, which means that students are actually so oppressed that they don't even have the will or time or energy to want to learn, to want to shape the history and the future that needs to take place. And I'm very bothered by that. And I hope on Saturday you can help me get all students on one Zoom call and discuss this very, very seriously. Thank you.
Yeah, I wanted to add, what's sad in our society, when we want to fight for our rights, whether it was about education, sex, sexuality, women's rights, whatever, كله it's a taboo. عيب هيدا لا ما لازم نحكي عنه. If we notice something, for example, in our classes, in history classes, philosophy, or whatever, أو حتى like religion, we talk about LGBTQ plus, كلهم بيصيروا بيسكتوا لا ما لازم نحكي ومين هو اللي we notice انه في كثير internalized homophobia عن people, like حتى انه we see انه people who are like انه they are sometimes even if they are gay بالclasses they show انه لا it's wrong homophobia, وحتى انه كثير بشع انه كيف نحن especially in the Arab culture انه this is so wrong. حتى virginity is such a big taboo انه مع انه and I personally think انه virginity is just a myth انه if a girl is a virgin او لا انه ما خصها بالشيء يعني it's not gonna stop her from achieving whatever she wants to achieve يعني. أو حتى educational system إنه if you're not an elite you can't do anything. Education is important. However, you can have a PhD and be stupid. You can have zero education and be extremely smart and open-minded and everything. So what's important هو إنه to be open, to be like experienced, not just education as in the books and the theories. إنه for example نحن هلا what we're seeing إنه I guess most of us إنه some of us are terminal students أو brevet إنه عنا نحن هلا تقديم. So like we're fighting for our rights إنه to cancel the official exams, not for the sake of just canceling the exams and not studying. إنه our mental health is bye ما في mental health هالسنة with with the coronavirus, with everything, the economic crisis and everything. So we're just like asking, please, don't do the exams. مش لأنه just Lebanon doesn't want to do the exams. A lot of countries, like, they canceled the exam, whether it was the French baccalaureate or the IB or the whatever, they canceled من وراء الشيوانة. They only had coronavirus. نحن we had ثورة and coronavirus. So the fact that the ministers and the government doesn't reply to us, it's really sad. This is why I always emphasize, we should go strike. We should. Sometimes, أنا personally أهل أقول لهم بدي أروح I want to strike. لا روح المدرسة or whatever. We should start fighting. We should not shut up. But these are our basic rights. We should go fight for these stuff. We should not shut up. Since we can't go to the streets because of coronavirus, we should stay home. مثل ما قال Amris, I really emphasize we should all students like join forces virtually. We can start a campaign. A lot of people are actually starting campaigns, but we really need to address these people, like tag them, like مش just maybe they won't see it if it's just like just a campaign. We really need to tag them and like نحسسهم بالسخن خلص too much ما لازم بقى نسكت.
I totally agree. Like, I don't know, but like, I feel I'm so privileged. I know I go to a French school, so I know I do the bac français. So on the bac français, it was like just like because like Andres talked about fighters for peace, and I know them from my school. So let's just start from here. It's something very shame. It's a big shame that I learned about the Civil War in French book and not in Lebanese book. So in French history, I will learn about the history of my country and not the history book of my country like it. But it's very it's a big shame. And then like why I guess like history repeats itself, and this is with like I'm so scared that this will happen in Lebanon because we don't have education, and even through like just saying that we need like young people need to do something, but young people also don't have in this country, like specifically Lebanon, they don't have the resources. They don't have much resources, and that's a big problem. Like for me, like I remember like the idea of starting Girl Up Lebanon was really frustrating. Like we have Maria on this call, so Maria started Girl Up Lebanon 3 years ago, but then it was so hard for her to continue. So it was the same thing for me. So it's really important. Like being together on this is very important because we are for each other. We are the ones who will be like, because I'll hate you. The government like it's so sad, but they won't even care about us. Like I just read yesterday an article saying that young people are very important. They're participating in a civil society. They're leading the NGOs. They're really present, but that doesn't mean like this isn't enough because we are not in the political system. So that's why I really encourage all of you to run for office a day, even though like our system is like highly corrupted and everything, but it is for us like civil society itself. I'm so sad to say that, but it won't lead us that far much. We really need within the political system itself, and that's why I'm so interested in politics. But yeah, I don't know if we're off topic, but I would say that it's very important in that for young Lebanese, we don't have a voice because our older generation didn't have a voice. So, like our parents, like I don't know, but like my parents seeing me getting involved in activism, they're really a bit like, oh, okay, that's amazing. Like how they're not that sure is that you who did like this campaign, who helped you. So there's really the intergenerational dialogue in Lebanon doesn't even exist. So imagine that problem, and then you have the education and our history books that date from Stone Ages. So yeah, something I really wanted to say, and it's really up to us. It's really that we are privileged to have today more resources, even though like if we want to compare Lebanon to other countries, then we are far away, but at least putting our resources for young people. And I would love really like everything we've been doing Fridays for Future for this whole week, like having webinars on issues that I personally wouldn't even expect young people to join I talk about civil war, because they will see like, oh, this happened like years ago. And even like this year, if we didn't participate in the Saura, I didn't believe, like I won't believe like Lebanese youth will be more involved in the political life. So I really hope انه we will stop this whole dialogue about this whole discussion that انه I don't know, we really need to wait for someone else, and we really need to start from now, even though we know that our actions won't lead to that much. And that's because, like, okay, we're striking, we're doing everything, but everything is ruined at the same point of like passing laws or like passing legislation and agreements. So we really have this moment, but it's up to us. So like, please, let's wait 10 years, let's say. And in these 10 years, we will work, learn from each other, put our resources together. And so like in 10 years, maybe run for office and prove that. I really want you to consider that our activism needs to be political activism. And everything like climate change, feminism, everything is related to politics. And this discussion, we don't have it in Lebanon. Even though like everything is political, like it's political in Lebanon, but I don't know why we don't have this kind of discussion. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's sad إنه حتى إنه
I
already
totally what you said for
لا I continue oh yeah.
sorry, were you speaking because we
لا
spoke
عادي
at the
عادي.
same time?
It's okay.
عادي, it's fine. No, it's fine.
I just wanted to
Because
say
because my
إنه
internet connection is very, very bad.
yeah, I just want to say إنه بس جملة إنه what's sad إنه in our school إنه whether we're learning about for example in sociology or philosophy, if we want to relate stuff to like the politics in Lebanon إنه لا ما بدنا نجيب سيرة السياسة بلبنان إنه we know each one إنه a lot of people محزبين or so, which is sad إنه people from our age, where they're involved in such stuff, instead of being involved in climate change, women's rights, animals' rights, LGBTQ or whatever, and it's really sad إنه we should relate to politics in order to understand more what's happening in the scope in Lebanon. And it's really sad إنه ما بيخلونا. أنا أوقات كثير بدي لا بدي أعرف إنه هالشيء إنه كيف إنه it's related to the politics in Lebanon. بالعكس إنه بدي نحكي عن politics. So هيك yeah, you were saying.
In university, probably you are mostly in school, most of you here. Once you get to university, it's even worse. The political parties have clubs, and within these clubs, they do all the digital marketing that political parties need in order to keep themselves in power. So if we want to do a political act, we need to do it ourselves. We don't need to wait 10 years, I believe, as Reem is saying. We need to start doing it right now, basically. That's my opinion.
And like taboo subjects, like they're regarded as taboo in like our curriculums. We shouldn't be afraid to like talk about them, because they need to be talked about. They can't sit dormant for like many years, because then they're just going to accumulate and get worse. So we have, even though it might feel scary to like jump into on a taboo subject, you have to make that like first step. Otherwise, it's not going to go away.
Yeah, it's going to keep on getting worse if we don't act before 10 years. The science is very clear. It says that we have 10 years before we reach irreversible tipping points if we don't change our behavior that could trigger the planet to 5 degrees Celsius increase even. So that would be catastrophic.
And I even consider that really, we were speaking earlier about how schools and administrations, they tell us about it like they speak to us about it very extremely briefly. And I consider like really that there is this sort of oppression even right now, that nobody literally, even in my school, let us start like in this circle, nobody takes it really seriously. I remember there's something such as the like environmental club in my school, literally they do nothing just for the titles. Like, yeah, we're a school that is really we care about this environment and everything, but really people don't take it seriously. There is a lot of ignorance. People our age, like, we're a minority because people our age, they really don't take these things into consideration, and these things are the things that we will pay for afterwards. So I really think spreading even awareness, because when we grow, when we become even like a bigger number, when we try to spread awareness, I guess like we can do this. But the most important thing is not to lose hope, is to fight for it, even if we are 2, 3, 11, whatever, because this is something that is extremely important and that we shouldn't take into, like, that we shouldn't ignore at all. So this is what I wanted to say.
I completely agree with what you said. And like, you're talking about the school. In my school, we have like recycling bins, and we tell people just throw the plastic bottle in the recycling bin. It's taking us so much time just to figure out a way to just make them throw it in the right bin. Like, people, like, they don't care, and they don't see the necessity of caring, because at the end of the day, like you said, it's going to affect all of us, and specifically our generation and the generations to come.
Just to add one more thing. Like, my point is isn't to wait 10 more years for actions, but is that please don't lose hope if, like, right now we're saying that there's no political actions, but in your mind, like, that for me it will be in 10 years, because like I'm 17, so in order, like, doing the math and to be able to run for office, it will be in 10 years. But like, please put in your mind that 10, like in my case 10 years, I would be in their place. I would be taking what I believe they should have taken like 10 years ago. So this was just my point. And I believe there's some changes, like, I don't know, but like in my school, concerning like clubs, we've been doing this, like I don't know, maybe because there's a French teacher, and that's another problem that I don't know, like Lebanese people are, like, in my school are okay, and environmental justice, yay, very good. Like, they just teach us just for, like, it's in the curriculum, but like that doesn't mean like more. That's it. Like, just what it is in the book, here you go, that's it. But like, I don't know, but like, we have a French teacher in our school, and she's so into so into climate change, and she's been doing lots of projects, and then they've been collaborating with lots of NGOs to come to our schools. But also, like, I don't know, like in a panel in our school, we're like, yeah, we're aiming to have like green school, the label of green school. So it's really important, like it's really a problem. But I would say things are changing, and I would love to have, like, in Lebanon, this discussion, like, in our curriculums. And I guess, like, we're talking from a point of view, like, we're so privileged. I don't know, like, I would say that most of us are like from are in private schools, but this, like, we have the opportunity, we have the ability to think about it, but like in other schools they don't even have. Like, more example, we have like la réforme, so basically the French system changed. So right now you choose, like, it's more similar to the IB right now. So you choose your own topics, or you choose your own subjects that you want to learn. And I choose politics and geopolitics. And one, like, a whole theme is about climate change. And imagine, like, in France, like, right now, like, it's not anymore in science, it's in politics. So like, I'm not an IB student, but like I can relate. So it's very interesting that we're shifting this discussion from like a scientific one to an economic and like a political one. And that's, I guess this is something we should look forward to having, like, this discussion more, like, even the scientific part, but also in the political and the economic part. So yeah, if you have something to add, let us know before, like, we get back to our presentation.
Yeah, وشاد نشوف أكثر عن Girl Up.
Feminism should be taught in school. إنه يكون في مادة اسمها feminism إنه بكل المدارس بلبنان.
حتى like as we see now, Italy have courses in school, like obligatory classes. They need to learn about climate change. نحن بكل الصفوف basically إنه عنا like بالبايو or chemistry or whatever like one chapter إنه changement climatique أو climate change or whatever. But what's sad إنه they just teach us about it but they never apply it or they never like do actions in it in the school. They really should do so, and like it's really sad. I remember once we had a discussion on I told them I want to do this and this that and ما حدا بيردك كلهم بيتمسخروا, everybody mocks you. Like that's what's sad in the Lebanese society. They don't care. like كله اخر شيء لا ما بتعمل شيء لحالك ما فيك تعمل شيء. بالعكس on your on your own you can. إذا we think like that ما حنوصل لمحل. لأنه it starts with you. Greta, for example, since when climate change she started by herself. وليك هلا وين صارت وكمان women's right أكيد at some point one person thought of it وهيك كسرنا and everything a person starts takes the initiative وبنكبر we really should this is it's really sad ما في منها بالمنتاليتي عنا باللبنانية initiative نبلا لا كله حدا they should start ونحن we continue أو خلص هن they just do it نحن we don't.
Totally agree, and this is something even هلا يمكن شوية off topic, but even like in our economy, like ليه one second, like import ولا export, I don't know. But like Lebanon, we're so relying on the international community. Or in Western countries, like ما في شيء, nothing is, or very less, very few are the products that are made in Lebanon because we rely on everything on like other people. Like, okay, why should I create this? Like, let the other country do it. So it's really important to change this narrative. And it's worse because you said like Lebanese, they have this mentality only in Lebanon, but believe me, when they travel and when they will study or live abroad, then I don't know why, but like they change this mentality at all, and will be like productive parts. And I guess it is time for us to be productive in our own country, and to change this mentality. And it will start with us, like seeing Girl Up Lebanon or Fridays for Future. They're both like youth-led movement. This will inspire lots of people. And let me say that when I joined Fridays for Future, I wasn't that like I wasn't that I don't know if I can find the words, but I wasn't that like into climate change. Like, of course, I was I learned about the issue and I was totally with, but like it wasn't like my first passion and like full in. But I joined Fridays for Future because like it was something like I really wanted to learn more. Plus, it was a youth-led organization, it was a youth-led movement, and that's very interesting on my behalf.
Yeah, exactly. Once I was in Turkey, I was shocked. Like Lebanese people, like they put the stuff in the recycle bin, like the correct one. بلبنان لا, like they just throw it on the street or like near it. It's sad. You're doing it abroad. Like do it in your country. This is your home. This is our home. This is your country. So why not start in your country? But then we start abroad and we continue. It's really sad. And when they go abroad, they know a new face. بتحس كل شيء تغير يعني. Because برا there are restrictions where like no one says anything. Yeah, you're saying.
I was saying إنه كمان إنه there's a problem إنه Lebanese people in Lebanon إنه they don't have faith إنه even if they I know a lot of people I ask them إنه why don't you recycle, they tell me إنه آخر شيء كلهم رايحين نفس المحل إنه recycling is a lie in Lebanon إنه they aren't actually doing something about it. So it's also a matter إنه they don't have faith and why ليه أنا بدي أتعذب if no one's gonna fix it بعدين and they're gonna do their job later on. So there's this issue كمان. Yeah.
If I may say, Maisa, there is a lot of people that are tackling these issues, definitely not from the public sector. And these people are great. They're very fun and they have a great vision for Lebanon. And well, I mean, we touched upon quite a lot of subjects, but I just want to say that I will intervene as a response to what has been talked about later. But I just want to say before Reem starts the presentation again that on our first webinar we launched on the circular economy, اقتصاد المدور, we like a lot of professionals in the field join us, and we had a very fruitful discussion. Even I would say, I think the youth is offering now through Fridays for Future an alternative to the government that keeps on delaying the deadlines for giving us a plan to the economic, political, social, environmental, every possible kind of crisis we have here.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't mean to generalize. I know that some people are actually working for it, but you know what I mean is that if the government is not taking it into hands, then people are gonna act differently. That's it. Yeah, you're right.
Okay, so I guess we will I will show you like a video, and after that we can talk, because lots of the points we talked about are kind of like in the video, so we can be back to all the points we discussed. So here's like a video.
Climate change is accelerating and impacting more and more communities around the world. The worst affected are the poorest countries, with rising sea levels, increasing temperatures, and extreme weather conditions. Within these countries, the poorest, most marginalized groups have the fewest opportunities to protect themselves. Due to discrimination and gender norms, women and men are impacted differently by climate change. In many developing countries, men work away from the home while women cultivate tiny plots of land without irrigation to produce food for their families. Climate change directly affects their ability to grow crops. On top of that, women often face barriers to basic education, employment, and to owning property. This often leaves women voiceless in advocating for climate change solutions and vulnerable to adverse effects. By paying special attention to the different needs and contributions of men and women, gender-responsive climate finance not only addresses climate change, but also reduces gender inequalities and empowers men. Yay! Effective projects ensure equal benefits. Take, for example, a climate project used to fund sustainable public transport. Do women feel safe while using the system? Can they afford the fare? Does the schedule meet their specific needs? Without answering these questions, the project will not serve a large part of the population. Climate action that disregards half of the population cannot be efficient or effective. Taking women's needs into consideration is not only the right thing, but also the smart thing to do. In short, only gender-responsive climate projects can be equitable, effective, and efficient. To achieve gender-responsive climate finance, there are a number of essential steps. 1. Climate projects need to involve more women on the ground, both solution and implementation. What exactly are women's needs and contributions, and how can these projects respond accordingly? For example, a project that provides women with access to renewable energy not only provides them with electricity, but also decreases their work burden in caring for families and communities. Second, climate funds need to have social and gender experts, not just technical ones. Policymakers need to look beyond the scientific and economic aspects of climate change and incorporate social and human rights dimensions as well. Third, more women should hold a seat at the table to affect the focus and the way climate decisions are made. In most climate funds, there are currently very few women holding these seats. This must change. Fourth, funds should be made directly accessible in the form of loans or grants to women groups or female entrepreneurs working on climate action. This would empower them to be agents of change for clean energy projects. It is high time for decision makers and funding mechanisms to fully support women as important stakeholders in climate action. Over the last 10 years, advocacy groups such as the Heinrich Böll Stiftung have pushed for more recognition of the gender dimensions of climate finance. So far, there has been some success. Look at the Green Climate Fund, the largest multilateral climate fund, which started its operations with an explicit gender equality mandate. This is an important step and a signal to the world, even if there's still a lot of work left to do. If you know more about the Green Climate Fund or the basic principles guiding climate finance and its delivery, check out our other two videos.
Okay, I think that the message that you would like you to remember out of this presentation mainly is that you know what, dream start and
No, it's okay. But yeah, I guess now we will have a discussion time, so please feel free to share with us your thoughts on the video. Like, did you learn something new? What do you think? Do you totally agree? Were you surprised by some facts? Please, yani, share with us.
Like, I had always known that. Sorry, if anyone wants to go. If I had known that, like,
Yeah.
feminism, like social, like the slogan climate justice is social justice, but like after seeing that video, like it really got solidified in my head. I think now on my Instagram page I really want to like promote that cause. Like now it clicked.
Yes, we're so happy to hear that. Just like from like my what I want to say is that I truly believe that we need to have women on everything. Like it just matter because, as we said earlier, this will affect everyone, and women are the poor, most vulnerable groups, and they basically are the ones in rural areas and regions bringing water and basically making sure they're and bringing water and all the necessities to their household. So, and they will be basically the most impacted by climate change. That's one thing. And on the other hand, we know that women find really huge difficulties when it comes to getting aid or just surviving after a disaster. So imagine if they're the most vulnerable and they are like not that protected. So it's really something very important, something we really basically don't think about it because, like, I don't know, like we don't immediately think about it, but it's something really like impacting on women's right. And I guess okay, is Maria here? But Maria shared with me like a couple of days ago that even the Paris Agreement had some articles on women's rights. Because at first, like when it comes like the first agreement on climate change, they didn't see this problem through the lens of gender equality. It was like, this is a scientific, economic problem, if that makes sense. But they didn't see it from like a social, human rights side, and this really affected all the actions that were taken after these agreements. So it's really important. And one of the things that I'm so into is the political leadership of women. So I really think that if more women are on the table, then I would say that they will solve everything what's happening in our world, but at least give them the chance to lead the change, or give them the chance to express themselves. And I will just give an example because we like right now hearing a lot about coronavirus response, and then we were reading a lot of articles on how women leaders are leading the change and are basically the ones that have like the, I don't know, the best actions against this sanitary crisis. And so I just like will give an example of Jacinda Ardern in New Zealand. Like she's a really great leader, and imagine if we had more of her. And like even New Zealand are working like compared to Australia, because like they have somehow the same political sphere. They're doing very well when it comes to climate change, and then drifting even their economy to being more like eco-friendly. So I really believe that we really need to think about gender as an issue that is involved in every single aspect of our lives, even gender, even climate change. And as Fridays for Future is a climate change movement, but it's also social equity, as lots of you talked before. So I really believe that is important to have more women on the discussion on the table, and also to learn about the issues that women are facing today. Because imagine like right now, without like drastic changes in the climate change, and we're so vulnerable. Imagine if things will get worse if we don't take the actions, how it would be horrible for more women like 10 years or like more days and years to come. So that's was for me. If anyone wants to share anything, please do.
Yeah. So, if I may say, I think what the October 17 revolution has shown me, at least by being down on the streets, is that no one needs to allow women to express themselves or to take power in their hands. Women are doing just that. Um, if you stand there in the protests, or if you did before the coronavirus, and were near the points where they got a bit aggressive, you would see that women were at the front lines hitting and kicking and pushing harder than anyone else. So really, I would like to thank Lebanese women on this 50th International Earth Day. And if I may also extend my gratitude to all Arab women and mothers. And yeah, it's important that what this discussion, I think, has brought about in terms of the youth sphere of influence within schools and society, even as a whole, that on this day we are calling out schools to take us seriously and to take climate action, to act on the science, okay? And it's the same as with feminists. We will not wait for them to allow us to take our futures in our hand. In fact, Fridays for Future has now launched an international platform called schoolsforfuture.net, and you're all welcome to join and request scientists to speak up at your university, at your school, university, or whatever, and get your community more activated. And lastly, my main concern and why I'm an activist, even before Greta Thunberg started her activism in September 2018, is that the Lebanese students are being banked on by a very small elite class in Lebanon. In other words, the rulers, the capital holders, they are the ones who are deliberately selling students to the outside world, to other countries, in order to get remittances in fresh dollars back into the country in order to feed and get the medicines for their impoverished families back here in Lebanon. And that is what is going to change from now on. This is our revolution. Thank you, girls, and peace.
We have less than a minute, so I guess بعد ما خلصت presentation, right? بعد في كم slides, yes?
Yes.
Okay, so once it's done, the meeting, please come and join the link again. I wanted to say something كمان إنه it's really nice إنه كيف أنا حسيت إنه personally بعد الثورة إنه كتير صار في أكتر women's right لأنه we saw إنه كلهم صاروا يحطوا الثورة أنثى وهيك قصص إنه it's really nice إنه this revolution إنه shed light on this matter إنه هيك إنه مش بس على وضع بلبنان بس كمان على إنه for women's right إنه it's really إنه هيك إنه good.
Okay, bye-bye all. I won't be able to join you on the next one. Have fun.
Bye, Andres.
Bye.
Bye, Andres. And I will speak in the other.
Guys, بس بدي أقول إنه أنا كمان I'm not gonna be able to join the next one. But thank you for this. It was so interesting. وبدي ارجع like join another one like another time. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Karma.
Thank you for joining.
Thank you.